How everybody doing? How everybody doing? Everybody doing? I know it's been a few. I know it's been a minute. You hear me? But I'm here. You hear me? I know it's been a minute since I've been present, but I've been present. You hear me? I gotta do. I gotta do the work too. You heard? I gotta do the work too. You know, it's a lot of things going on energetically. It's been off the chain. You hear me? If you know, you know. You know, and if you know, you live in it. You heard? We all got things to sift through, work through, get over. You hear me? You know? Yeah. Cause it's gonna say a lot about us if we able to. You heard? Um, what we come from, what we come through, and what we're here to do. For a lot of us, ain't the same as where we started from to get to where we are right now. You hear me? To get to where we are today. You heard? Mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. You know, ain't the same as where we started from to get to where we are today. You heard? That's how much change been made for those of us who doing the inner work. So if you've been doing that inner work, I salute you. You hear me? Because that's definitely what it takes. And everybody can't go. Everybody can't go. And one thing I learned about that phrase, everybody can't go, you can't feel sorry for who don't make it. You hear me? You can't feel sorry for who ain't make it. You heard? Because they had just as much opportunity to do what's necessary in them as you and I did. You hear me? You know, we all born with our own gift, and it's our personal responsibility to shape, mold, develop, enhance, upgrade. You know, whatever that gift or those gifts may be. You know, and I say that because our attitudes, our behaviors, and our communication has a lot to do with everything. You hear me? It has a lot to do with everything, especially when it comes to the ability or our ability to control ourselves. And controlling ourselves is one of the most important things, you know, that we can do in life, to say the least. And for some of us, it's the hardest thing to be able to do, but it can be accomplished. And I say that because some of the things that our parents taught us or our guardians taught us, if we hold on and carry those things with us through our life, and many of us could attest to this, you know, it has kept us from running into a lot of problems, you know. Now that don't mean we ain't run into some problems for those of us who have been hard-headed or didn't listen, but it has many of the things that we was taught has kept us from running into a lot of problems, and the things that don't, we have to figure out for ourselves through our own experiences and our own choices, and that's a beautiful thing, because to learn the art of seeing, you know, you got to integrate. We got to integrate a big part of our darkness, you know, through painful self-reflections and shadow work, or what we know as shadow work or inner work or whatever you may know it as. You hear me? If you're doing it, but it's through painful self-reflections, you know, that we get it done in order to bring the dark unconscious things unto our consciousness, you know, to you know, shine a light on it, as I say, you know, to light the consciousness, otherwise known as awareness, self-awareness, and in self-awareness, you know, it should be bringing us to the realization of, if you're familiar with the Bible, you know, you've heard the phrase, "Isn't it written, ye are gods?" Cause what else we here for? If we spiritual beings having a human experience, what else we here to do? Other otherwise to find out and to know that we are gods. You hear me? You know? We are gods. We are what we've been looking for. You know? We are what we've been looking for. And that's important because if the mission is to return to the non-physical aspect of self in the present, you know, in the present, this ain't no time to compromise, you know, and the time is now to trust yourself, to trust oneself like never before, because you can't conquer what you haven't understood, and you can't silence what you resist to hear, you know. And if the purpose of shadow work is for enlightenment, then enlightenment only happens when you make the darkness conscious. Enlightenment only happens when we make the darkness conscious. Otherwise, in other words, make the darkness conscious of itself. And once the darkness is conscious of itself, you see, it's able to be in that darkness is able to move from let's say a higher vibratory rate, a higher vibratory space, you know. So choose to see the truth because you can, not just when you want to. Choose to see the truth when you can, not just when you want to. It makes your ability to trust your intuition much greater, you know. It makes your ability to trust your intuition much greater. So I repeat, choose to see the truth because you can, not just when you want to. If you make your ability to trust your intuition stronger, it'll definitely help you navigate through life in a much more powerful and a much more greater and a much more smoother way than you probably have been. You see, and to add on to that, because I was reflecting, I was thinking, and the more I was reflecting and the more I was thinking, I came to the determination that I'm not thinking, that I'm not reflecting. I'm listening. Some of y'all gonna catch it, and I hope you do. You know, when you're thinking, you're listening. So pay close attention to what you're hearing. And know whatever you hear, what you're hearing pertaining to you, or or know what's pertaining to you and what's not. Know what's coming from you and what's not. You know, that's even more important. And I'm grateful for that realization, if I may call it that. You know, I'm grateful just to be able to realize that. You know, because it's an assistance. It's an assistance as I move forward. It's going to be of great assistance as I move forward. You know, just to entertain that type of, I'll say, revelation. You know, it's assistance to where and it subsists to ways that we can structure, we can add structure. It could be assistance in ways that we can add uh, direction. It's assistance in ways that we can add more discipline, you know, and it's assistance in ways that we can add more protection in our lives, you know, especially for those of us who are on a mission, on a journey, on the path to find and become our own light, you know, because we know to find and become our own light, we got to go through our own darkness, you know. We got to go through our own, we go, and we will have our own experiences as well as shared experiences in doing so, you know. And in doing so, we have to remember, you know, that the victim will always find somebody to blame. You heard? And we ain't here to blame. We ain't here to blame nobody. Not anybody who here to be sovereign beings. You know, the truly spiritual beings having a human experience ain't here to blame nobody. They're here to get this work. They're here to get this work done. You hear me? While we have the time that we gonna be here to get it done. You know. So to find and become your own light, you gotta go through your own darkness. And the victim will always find somebody to blame. You heard? And since I ain't got nobody to blame, and I hope you ain't got nobody to blame, you know, we can only look at ourselves, you know, from where we are, and from where we are, work with what we working with. You heard? Work with what we working with, you know. Yeah, this ain't no time to compromise. And we gotta get beyond belief. We gotta get to a space of knowing, you know. We gotta get to a space of knowing. And I just thought about that because I was in conversation and the word belief kept coming up, and I made it known that belief is just a thought that we've been taught, and because we've been taught certain beliefs, we made a choice to choose to keep thinking it. But does that make whatever we chose to believe and keep thinking, because we chose to believe it, true? If belief is just a thought we've been taught and that we choose to keep thinking, does that make it true? It's things that's true that some don't believe. But everything that we believe, not true. See the paradox? But it's true if you think it is. But does that make it true? Even if we thinking it. But true cause we think it is. It sounds tricky. But it's really not. But this how the play been played, you hear me? And I say that because everything true not wanted, you know. Y'all may say, what do I mean by that? Everything true is not wanted. Cancer true, but do you want it? Sickness true, but do you want it? You see, it's a lot of things true that's not wanted. So it's important to know what's in our vibration according to our thoughts. It's important to know what's in our vibration according to our beliefs or belief systems. You know, remember, belief is just a thought that we keep thinking. Some thoughts serve us and some thoughts don't. You know, or some thoughts serve us and some thoughts are disservice, you know, to us. And vibrationally so. And those that's familiar with the law of attraction understand that or will understand that, you know, cause who don't like feeling good? Who don't like being happy? Who don't like being healthy? Who don't like being alive? Who don't like being in peace? Who don't like feeling full of energy? Because if you experiencing any of those things, you know, that's when you in the zone. You know, that's when you at your best. Anything outside of that, I don't know where you at. You hear me? You know, I don't know where you at. You probably over there with misery. Anything outside of good, happy, healthy, alive, peace, harmony, balance. Anything outside of that, you probably over there with misery and all her comrades. Cause as we all know, misery love company. You hear me? And if that ain't the kind of company you trying to keep, cause you don't have it in you, then you're gonna have to find something else to be around. You hear me? You're gonna have to find something else to be around. You know, vibrationally so. You know, cause everybody can't go. You heard? So this ain't no time to compromise. And I just came through to shoot a little things at us, man. Cause it's been a few days. You heard? I just came through to shoot some things at us. You know, spark the mind. You know, in a way, in a way that most don't. You feel me? And remind us, man, it's always work. It's always work. You know, connect with the peace in yourself as you collect the pieces of yourself. You heard? And I repeat, connect with the peace in yourself. And you gotta go in to get it. Connect with peace in yourself to collect the pieces of yourself. Cause in peace, with the peace in yourself, you're able to put all the pieces back together. You hear me? So it won't be no fractures. You know, feel good for no reason at all. You heard? Speak life over your life. You know, daily, momentarily, persistently, consistently. You hear me? And relentlessly. Speak life over your life. You heard? Because it's important. You know? It's through the darkness. It's through the darkness that the light be made known. It's through the darkness that the light be made shown. You know? Not only through and in me, but through and in you too. It's through the darkness that the light be made shown. You know? And we know that clearly when we do the work to know who we are. Whether we call it God conscious, divine conscious, Christ conscious, or human conscious. You know? The difference between any of them is the space that we use it from, according to the nature we operating in. You heard? So, feel good for no reason at all. You know? Radiate your best self. You know? When nobody watching. You heard? And do what you came here to do. Be who you came here to be. Step into your purpose. You know? Step into your purpose. Express what's in your soul. You know? You never know who may need to hear it. which is another reason why I came through, because it's been a few days. But I don't never know who gonna need to hear something that I say that only can come from me saying it. You hear me? So the mission don't stop. You know. Um, yeah. Thanks for the likes, shares, comments, questions. Peace out, woos, purchases, donations, love offerings, all of that. I appreciate y'all. You hear me? Until we do it again, I'm known as Sawu. Be you how you be you. You heard? Love, family. Peace.